about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free.
But when you sign a death certificate to a life that you thought that you were going to live, it is stressful. And when you come out of something like that, the silver lining in that kind of stress is that you don't have a lot of time for BS when you're going through that kind of pain, and you don't, and just the breakdown of your life. And so naturally, by default, it creates portals in your life where maybe you let go of relationships that aren't serving you, or you minimize your attention span for things that really just don't matter anymore.
Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow, yo.
Alrighty. Well, we are here on the road to self-love with Miss Annie Tevelin of SkinOwl and the Parliament Project. And pretend like the camera isn't here. Don't look at it.
Like this.
And I'm so excited. I just drove in 2 hours of traffic to be here, and we're already at a dead end.
We are. Welcome to my cul-de-sac of death. It literally is 10 feet long.
Okay, well, I've already told them a little bit about you in the intro to the intro, but I would love for you to just dive deep into who you are as an individual, because that's what the beauty of this life is
Absolutely.
That we get to be our own person.
Yeah, so Paul said it best. I am, as of this year, running 3 different operations that I think all have to do with giving back to yourself in a real, tangible way. One of those ways is by way of SkinOwl, which is my vegan, non-toxic, mama-safe, cruelty-free, all of the good stuff skincare line. It's like a simple part of your day that you just get to care for yourself, take a few minutes in the bathroom and get away from the husband, the girlfriend, the kids, the dog, life, work, and just gift yourself a moment of healthy, yummy skincare. That started as a result of my journey with cystic acne. I was in my late 20s, totally missed acne in high school, and turned 28, and literally, boom, I broke out. I was like a Proactive commercial. I tell people it was all over my chest, all over my back, down my jawline. I mean, it was awful. The before and after photos exist online if you would all like to see them. And I was working for Lancome at the time, using a ton of makeup. The ingredients did not work well with my skin, and decided to go back to school. UCLA had a cosmetic chemistry program, went through the program 3 times because science was not my thing, and learned everything there was to learn about ingredients and what works on the skin versus what is marketed to us as working. Because as an acne sufferer, I was hard into the hard abrasive Clarisonic brushes, salicylic acid peels, everything that was pretty much taking my face off. And my education taught me that you want to heal the skin and use oils and all of these things that were so counterintuitive. So created my own line. That was 5 years ago. And now we're helping people literally all over the world with their skin. And then we have a dinner series called the Parliament Project, which Paul has been inducted to, and has actually done self-love consultations with our guests and our members. He's amazing. It's like a dinner series. It's a dinner collective that a parliament is a group of owls. And so we focus on a no phone zone, dialing down, being vulnerable, standing up and talking about the things that you struggle with in a group of people. And everybody just shows up mentally and physically, and there's a lot of tears and hugs and friendship, and And then I have my podcast.
I mean, you've got it all, and that's what I love. So I want to travel back into the skincare a little bit,
Okay.
because I know that this is going to take us places. Because I've had a couple of skincare people on the show already, and I'm finding that there's a lot of conflicting ideas around what's good for the skin. And,
Yes.
you know, you went through this whole journey, and, you know, I found out that coconut oil, like, really isn't the best. And,
No.
like, that's, like, a massive movement right now. So, and I really want to know about the words natural. Because, like, for me, I don't trust the word natural, but that's, like, there's no other word to describe it. So,
Yes. It's all very accurate, what you just said. Yeah. I mean, natural is a word that I think people use because they feel like it has something to do with nature. But natural, you know, petroleum, and which is like gas, fuel, petroleum, all of those things is natural. And the mica that we use in our like highlighting oils
Not
is
your husband,
synthetic.
though.
No,
Not your
no.
husband.
There's a little piece of mica in every bottle, so drink up, folks. No, I mean, like, we use a synthetic mica because when you use natural mica, there's child, you know, mining, labor law situations going on. So it's like natural's not always good and synthetic's not always bad. Clean is a good way to maybe talk about it, or you know, non-toxic, although if people have allergies to lavender because of the 300 and some phytochemicals in lavender, then that's not non-toxic. It's just, you know, it's really just not about making yourself crazy. It's just about doing the best that you can. And people have lived for many years with several toxins in their bodies. It's really just about not creating the toxicity of stress because you're so overwhelmed by being the healthiest you can possibly be, and just everything in moderation. You know, if you're using habitual products like deodorants and face washes and shampoo, try and make it really clean. I guess I like the word clean, just something that doesn't like cause a lot of toxic buildup. And coconut oil people use, just for the record, because it's cheap. Now there's like not a ton of coconuts like left in like Nigeria and other places that people source coconuts from, because people use it so much, and you have like the Procter and Gamble's of the world sourcing it at such high quantities. But it's like a wax. It's comedogenic, so it doesn't penetrate the pore. So it's good for like oral, you know, like pulling, and it's good for you know, I put it on Monkey's little elbows, my dog's elbows.
Yeah.
But you don't want to leave it on the skin. It's comedogenic, and much like, is this person really trying to get so close? She wants in on the conversation. And yeah, it's like jojoba. It's like a wax.
Got it. So what I really love that you said is about the stress. You know, the stress that we put on ourselves. And I actually experienced this when this is the longest red light I've ever been at. When I've experienced this.
Welcome to the valley.
When is that where we are? I have no idea where we are right now.
We're in the valley, the
We're in
Palisades.
valley. So what I've experienced with this concept of like clean is that I got super stressed out about things like really minuscule things like not consuming things with natural flavors, and the deodorants that I used had to like not have aluminum and had to just like most of the time ended up being pastes that I had to like manually put on my pits, which I kind of actually enjoyed. But then I started getting like adverse reactions to these types of things, like breaking out underneath my armpits, and like I'm just like in a fight with my armpits in general right now.
Who isn't?
Who isn't? But you know what, I would love to hear more about like this concept of stress and really like, you know, you've had a lot of stress in your life previously, whether it come to the acne, or it came to just like the past relationships you've had, and just like finding out who you truly were. And how do you like navigate the stress, not only of having like 3 companies, but of just your past and like letting that be your past?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a amazing question. It's so full. I think, like, you know, this is what I will say. I've had experiences in my life, for people who have not listened to the podcast, don't know me at all. I was married for the first time at age 35, divorced at 36. I'm now remarried at 38. And, you know, I don't care who you are, like if it's a 1-year relationship or a 20-year relationship. I was with my ex-husband for 5 years, and then we got married, and we were married for about 13 months. But, you know, great person, amazing man. But when you sign a death certificate to a life that you thought that you were going to live, it is stressful. And when you come out of something like that, the silver lining in that kind of stress is that you don't have a lot of time for BS when you're going through that kind of pain, and you don't, and just the breakdown of your life. And so naturally, by default, it creates portals in your life where maybe you let go of relationships that aren't serving you, or you minimize your attention span for things that really just don't matter anymore. And so with that pain, there's this cocktail of freedom and kind of resurfacing and redefining yourself. And it allowed me to deal with stress weirdly better afterwards, because I kind of knew what was important and I was able to prioritize things. And, there's 3 businesses in my life, but I do think that you have this stamina, like the universe or yourself, whatever it is that gifts you these things. Like I have the stamina that allows me to do those things, but I might not have the stamina to do what you do. You know what I mean? And you might not have the stamina to do what that person does. So it's like my stamina allows for these 3 things to thrive, but it's not without sacrifice. You know what I mean? I think maybe that's why skincare means so much to me now, because it is a moment that, like, no matter how shitty or weird the day was, I get to, I know that I can always bank on like a moment with myself to just like smell the essential oils and dial down. And it sounds so silly, but like it does add up. The cumulative effect of that means something.
I am so on board with everything you said, and I love that phrase, cocktail of freedom. Like, mix up that for me and everyone. Like, free us and drink up, daddy, because I am ready to go with that. So, just...
What if it tastes like Jaeger, though? Would you still drink it?
I mean, I had my Jaeger bomb days, so maybe it would give me this nice time, nostalgic feeling,
Yes.
Just like freedom and licorice.
Yes.
Just like living that life.
Freedom
I
and
feel
licorice.
like, but if we're like really talking about the analogy of freedom as a cocktail, I really feel like freedom at first would be an acquired taste, like kind of like in the sense of maybe like for me, I started drinking dirty martinis because I had this issue where I was just like chugging alcohol. This is like, and like I was out on a date and they were like, why don't you drink something that like you don't inherently like really want to drink? So just sip on it. And I was like,
Whoa.
Take a dirty martini, and so...
That's... like that just blew my mind.
Right? But and so I'm sipping on it, and now like I'm obsessed with dirty martinis and like chug them all the time. But at the moment I'm exploring sobriety.
Oh.
So
Yeah, me too.
yeah, you too, but
Me too.
both for like different reasons.
True.
But like moving into skincare in the sense of just like self-care, because that's what SkinOwl is all about. Like, I'd love to know some other self-care things you do, because skincare I feel like is on like the top level of what people think of when they think of self-care.
Yep.
And what are other things that you, or maybe even like what are things that your husband does? Because like I would love to know how you two kind of like merge that like
Yes.
self-care moment together.
Micah and I are like very, very, very similar. It's strange, how similar we are. I mean, the way that we were raised, the things that we find important, our inclination to make the same joke at the same time. We always want the same food. Like, I've never been with someone where it's literally like the compatibility is like oddly, I mean, it's crazy. So a lot of the time, the things that he needs are the things that I need, because we both operate at the same speed of life, and we both suffer with the same, like, we love people and we love being around people, but sometimes we don't know how to click our off button and to like take a step back and replenish ourselves. Yes, of course, skincare is always a thing. I think for me, I used to shop a lot. That used to be my thing. Like, I used to shop for a lot of clothing, and I will always love shopping. It's a form of expression, but I also noticed that I was shopping at times that there were certain voids in my life, and or if I like wasn't as social and I was kind of bogged down with work, I would go out and buy outfits for like, when I go out, even though I didn't have the bandwidth to go out. So I've scaled back a lot on shopping, and I've upped the money that I spend on myself is always in replenishment type things. So if it's getting my nails done or getting a massage or getting a facial, LA is this melting pot of really inexpensive wellness places. Like people think like, oh, in LA you got to go to the spa. No, I'm never going to those places. I'm never going to the hotel. I'm never going to the nice places. My massage place is $47 for 60 minutes. You know what I mean? That's like, if you don't go out, you could actually maybe do that twice a month. So I love going to those, experiencing the types of things that allow me to live without my phone.
Yeah.
And in the same breath, the biggest self-care move that I've had like in the last, I would say maybe 2 weeks is number one, I don't sleep with my phone on my nightstand. My phone is always out of reach in the bathroom, not only for like the electromagnetic field stress waves that actually keep people up at night, but I actually sleep better when my phone's not around, and I don't then go to bed scrolling, and I don't wake up scrolling. I wake up and go to sleep like a normal human. And I set a timer on my phone. So Instagram, I set a timer when I'm at 55 minutes for the day, I turn it off. And my screen time for the iPhone, I was like, you have looked at your phone for 7 hours today. And I'm like, I don't like that at all. You know, I don't like that at all. So I'm setting boundaries with the amount of time I spend on my phone. You know, I mean, we didn't need, self-care was never a word like in our parents' generation, because they had boundaries and they had slowness, and they would go on walks without their AirPods on and just like go on a walk and listen to the traffic and nature.
Right.
And I'm just trying to eliminate, I'm disconnecting, I think is the best way. What areas of my life am I connected, and could I afford to disconnect in those moments? And that question and those answers have changed my life.
Oh, I mean, that's something that I have all of my clients practice too. It's just like this, like, it's almost getting present, you know, in the idea. And for me, I just really want to make this turn, but also, I love what you said. Well, first of all, I got hit with a little bit of jealousy that you and your husband are so like alike in the things you need, because like Richard and I could not be more like different in the sense, like, yeah, we both like to go out and we both like to enjoy time with people, but like me, always got to be going, and him, he needs to like recharge his battery like ASAP, and we never want the same types of food, you know. I like want to explore sobriety, and he's just like signed us up for a wine club, you know. So it's just like under these are, but I want to know, because I personally feel actually grateful for the difference in us, because he's very grounded, like, and he keeps me there. So how do you navigate like being in a relationship basically with, you know, yourself but like a man?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this would be such a different answer if I was 26. During the years that I wanted or thought that I should be married, I won't say wanted, because all of a sudden I was like 30 and I was like, whoa, everyone's getting married and having kids. Like, I am still living this individual life. Like, I'm not ready to do that. And then I met my ex-husband at 30. We got married at 35. That was very late. Everybody else was married with kids. And then, you know, to be remarried at 37, that's like a whole different type of union. You know, I feel like I'm able to be a better partner now because I've had 37 years to really know myself and know and experience great loss in love and be able to see what I really need. You know, I think like 5-10 years ago, it's the list, right? It's like, oh, I want him to be taller than me, and I want him to be funny, and I want him to have a good relationship with his parents, and you know, I want him to blah, 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 blah. And it's like, so much of that, of course, is great and true, and one should aspire to be with someone that makes them laugh and all of these things. But now it's like, I want someone who's open and someone who's malleable and someone who's open to change and wants to be curious about life and wants to go through life with me, and isn't like I don't want them to be a final product by the time I've met them. Like, I want to grow together. And I say Micah and I are both, you know, we spend a lot of time together and we love spending time together. But it's also like, because we spend so much time together, there's permission to kind of be like, hey, you know, I need to take a step back, and I need to spend 2 hours today, like, don't call me. I just need that freedom. And that's just a big word for both of us, is we're both in kind of that service
Freedom
industry.
cocktail.
Drink on up.
Drink on up.
Stillness and aloneness is my, like, kryptonite now, because I love people. Like, I could spend all this time with you, but then you don't realize how depleted you can sometimes get. So I don't even know if that answered your question.
You know what? It didn't, but it sparked so many more questions. Okay, so I think this would be perfect time to play a road trip game. I want to play this game where I'm going to turn on the radio, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to put it on scan. And the first song, when the song comes on, the first person to guess the name of the artist who's performing wins a point, okay? So I don't know if I've ever even used the radio.
And I'm going to, like, not even look, because now every car is like, this is Billy Joel singing We Didn't Start the Fire, so we have to promise not to look at the screen.
Oh, you're right. Wait. Oh, yeah. Static! Wait, scan. Talk radio.
Okay, I am going to kick your ass in this.
Okay, great. Perfect. Another?
It's all morning radio.
It's all morning radio. This is perfect.
Ryan Seacrest. I have no idea. I bet other people out there know.
Yeah. My husband would know. This is going to be really exciting.
It's so good. I love this. This is what
Have you ever played this game before?
No.
Oh. Smooth jazz? Can he rock?
Is this XM radio? We are getting all the...
We are on FM. Oh my god.
Is this the Doors?
Oh my god, I think so.
I'm going...
Cream! It's Cream, but I saw it.
Shoot!
Question. When is the federal tax grab enough?
I don't know.
When does the federal government...
It's a great question. I want to...
This is really
This
making
is
me upset.
the best game I've ever played.
I'm so angry right now because I've been dreaming of playing this game with you. Carrie Underwood. Is it?
I'm not good at country.
I'm pretty sure it's Carrie Underwood. Yeah, maybe not. This is the worst.
Let's go back to the federal state question, the federal state tax question.
Ellie Goulding! Oh! That's a tie.
Tie, but you're 2-1 because of Carrie.
Okay.
Who was that? Is that her new song?
No. Maybe. Yes.
I was wondering where she went.
We're in the valley.
We're in the valley.
I'm driving so far, I need to turn around.
It's so good. I know exactly where you are.
Okay, perfect.
Mumford & Sons.
Oh, yes, you're so right.
2-2, baby.
2 baby.
Comprehensive financial plan. Kinetics mission.
Okay, I'm going to say whoever wins next, we're going to move on because this is just making me really upset that there's not a lot of
Try and sing a
music.
song.
Money is the root of all hurt. Let me help you with your portfolio. Then a minister came along and said,
You know how they're like,
praise
there's
the Lord in all your
1,000 stations on the television, there's nothing to watch?
Yeah.
I'm feeling the exact same way.
I
about the
know,
rest.
I'm really upset right now. This might even not make it into the show.
No, it needs to.
I have no...
See, this is when you think it's like Creed, but it's like someone
Yeah.
on the church station,
It's a church station again, yeah.
which is like some of the most beautiful music
If
you've
you're
ever
listening
heard.
to this on iTunes, you need to join us on YouTube and watch our facial reactions because it's not to be missed.
just a little less static.
Now at your Southern California Chevy dealers. Learn more at SoCalChevy.com.
We need to make a motion for more music and less talk in the morning. What time is it? It's 11:15 actually.
After a chilly morning, we'll
Okay.
have sunshine
Well,
this
it's a
afternoon.
tie. We're done. It's over.
Oh hey, it's your boy Paul Fishman, self-love coach and you do you activist, here to ask you a very important question. What would it feel like to be free from any fear and emotional relationship with food? Think about it. What would it feel like to step into a social situation around food and not have anxiety? What would it feel like to not feel like a slave to the food that you're putting in your body, having to plan out every ounce of food that's going into your body? What would that feel like? Well, I hope that I'm able to support you in answering that question. So I want to introduce you to the Feel Your Food 4-week accelerator program. Now, FEEL is an acronym that stands for forgive, experience, enjoy, and love. And over the course of 4 weeks, I'm going to teach you how to do that specifically around your relationship with food. This looks like a community. It looks like weekly group calls, the opportunity to book one-on-one calls with me. You have some pre-work that you get access to today if you sign up, and that's going to take you all through the concept of emotional eating, what it is, and how to conquer it. We're also going to work together with a photo food journaling app that's specifically created to help you understand your emotions and the triggers involved in creating that negative relationship with food. So if any of this sounds good, I want to urge you to stop thinking that you have to do this alone. Stop thinking that because you've read the blog post, because you've watched countless YouTube videos, reached out for help from countless Instagram models and food people. I want you to know that right here and now, you have the opportunity to invest in yourself to make the change. And I think that I've made this very, very affordable, but also very accessible. So if this feels like something that you are so excited to do, all you have to do, click the Join Now button right below this video so that you can get in on the 4-week Feel Your Food Accelerator program that's starting very, very soon. Thank you so much for being here. And remember, you are worth it. You deserve it. And you are not alone. I'll see you on the inside.
It's canceled. Okay, well, the perfect
one, too.
segue into your mission to really empower and inspire people to connect, you know, and
Yes.
you have this beautiful way of bringing people together. And a side note, I love how you've built your brand around yourself in this powerful way. I think that more skincare companies need to get the founder on the Insta stories. I want to know what you're having for dinner. You know, I want to know the thought process. I think that you have a really powerful way of showing up for your community that doesn't feel egotistical or centric or narcissistic.
That means a lot.
It just feels like I just want to see Annie, you know, and so you created this Parliament project, which we talked about a little bit, and it's really just have this conversation outside of yourself. And I really want to know what the vision for that is, because it's very you have to be in LA to participate, and I would love to know if I'm getting ahead of you, but what your vision is for the
Yes.
Parliament project. But tell us a little bit more about it before
Yeah.
we dive in.
So the Parliament Project, like I said, there's a school of fish, a group of owls is called a parliament, and a project is often known as a work in progress, and that's who we all are as a
WIP.
community. Yes, we're all just trying to figure it all out. I would say the Parliament Project is definitely an opportunity for people who would never normally have met one another to come and sit with each other and break bread, and then as a result break through. But it's also a rebellion against the parts of today's society that I get a little uncomfortable with. And I've spent half of my life kind of playing outside and not being able to connect to dialing up and all of those things, and I've spent the next half of my life very connected and using all the apps and doing all the things. And I think there's a part of me that feels like as a society we're losing a little bit of empathy and patience and just kind of loving thy neighbor and and I've said this actually quite a bit recently, but we're being introduced to all of these people via Instagram that we never knew existed. Like now we know what everybody is doing at noon in Bali, and we know what people are doing in France, and we're seeing all of these strangers, and like all of the content is being curated by the human. Like these aren't friends who are like posting about them on their feed. This is what you want to show about yourself, you're posting. What I want to show about myself, I'm posting. And I think sometimes there's a lot of judgments and just like, oh, I think I already know this person because they're scantily clad, or I know this person because of what they're showing me. And we kind of put people in different categories and write them off so easily because of these categories and judgments. And it's like, and then when you meet a stranger in real life, we kind of bring the same lack of empathy and lack of understanding. Like we just kind of write people off, or maybe we're super like rude in our car and we speed off. Like I think it's just creating the social etiquette of today is just a little strange to me. So the Parliament Project is a way for people to kind of work and hone that muscle that maybe hasn't been honed, where you're around strangers, but these people are bringing out the best in you, and they're listening to you, and they're supporting you while you cry and talk about crazy things with your parents or your relationships or your struggles, and they're also championing your successes. And it's like undivided attention, which is also extremely rare because everybody talks over each other and interrupts and then relates stories back to themselves. And it's like a psychological experiment to see if people actually want something like this. And I will say, after 6 dinners, it has grown, and now people can apply, and we have people applying in Denver and Phoenix and San Diego and all of these places. And then when we get a certain amount of people in each of those territories, we'll travel and go and do a Parliament project in their town.
Oh my goodness, so cool.
It's just an influence. I'm trying to be a good influence on a world if people need it. Some people are very happy to be connected, and like they have normal boundaries with social media, and they live in maybe a different place than LA. So people are, I don't know, they're nicer at times.
Yeah.
But here in LA, I feel like it's definitely needed.
So something you said about social media and how we're being introduced to new people kind of hit a chord for me, because I just recently had like this massive influx of new people, and I felt that I've been having trouble sitting back into how I used to create and how I used to show up, because I'm like, well, there are all these new people who didn't know me before, don't have any context of who my husband is or who my puppy is, or like, my skincare routine. I feel like I have to explain myself for everything.
Yes.
So like, how do you handle that in this idea of the Parliament Project, or really in this idea of being a leader in the space of just like leading your life for like self-care is skincare, and self-care is just like being unapologetically you? Like, how do you navigate stuff like that?
I mean, I think like some of the big pillars of who you are should live somewhere permanently. So if it's a behind the brand with Paul Fishman, or if it's this is my skincare routine, or if it's like videos of, your dog or Richard or whatever those things are that just kind of live on IGTV. That way you don't always need to be like, hi, this is me. Nice to meet you. It's, you can point people in the direction of the pillars where they can get to know you better, and then your Instagram is a place where they're going to have to just kind of catch up.
Yeah.
And I know it's so hard because we all want the followers, because people want validation, and you want to feel like the work that you're doing means something, and the followers means that the work that you're doing matters and means something, and it's worth your time. And if you don't get the followers, sometimes it's like, oh, well, maybe I should switch tunes. So I think it's just finding that balance of like, what are the important things that I want people to know about me? What's my backstory as to why I'm doing this? What are my guiding principles? What's like a little bit of blurb about my personal life, and maybe just doing like introductory videos that just live.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, if you want to get to know me, if you're just tuning in, and you point them to those places, and then you like keep the show moving for people who have been with you, and really just trying to keep your voice the same that it always was, because you have to imagine the new people coming, they don't want a different version of Paul. They want, they want the Annie that like first started.
Yeah, I like that. And I also like what you said about like wanting the followers and actually like receiving the followers is almost form of validation enough. But you know, I really found, and I would love to talk about alignment with you and being aligned with your purpose, because for me, when I stepped into this self-love atmosphere and really started like leaning in deep to that, that's when like magical shit started happening. So I would love to know, because you know, your journey has been like riddled with like maybe misdirection or just like lessons learned that were really painful, and I'd love to know like what was that moment, that like aha moment for you where you were just like, oh, I need to really just like step into SkinOwl Parliament Project, just like this new relationship and what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, to give you and people some background, I think I was a happy child. You know, my parents were still together. I had a beautiful upbringing, great relationship with my family. Had, you know, was a swimmer, and I went to summer camp for like 13 years where I met like the best friends in my life. And summer camp, I still owe everything. I mean, I started going at 8. My parents sent me to sleepaway camp at a very young age, so I had to maybe mature social skills at a younger age than most people, and be okay with strangers, and like be in a bunk sleeping next to people that like I never would have maybe sought out in my own social life.
Yeah.
So acceptance, tolerance, it was an all girls camp. My counselors were lesbians. At the boys camp, the counselors were, you know, there was homosexuality in my face. Like a lesbian taught me how to play the guitar at age 10. And I went back out into the world and was talking to people like that. And young girls were like, what's a lesbian? Like the things that I was exposed to, and there was no question of acceptance, because that was just like that person's tall, that person has a girlfriend. And it just like, I started off at a young age being, I think my emotional quotient was very high because of the things that I was exposed to. And then there was also a part of my life that I didn't really feel like I had a voice. You know, I looked up to my older brother so much, and he's to blame for none of this, by the way. This is like your own sibling mental state. But he was just so strong and so smart and so funny, and I think like a younger sibling normally does, you're like, I want to know who I am in that kind of way. And you know, like being a young girl and not knowing, you know, your looks and being taller than everybody and being curvier than most people, it was like I just didn't really know my footing at a young age, and I didn't really have a voice. And it wasn't until I went to school, I went to college at Indiana University, and I spent a semester abroad in London, and it was the first time I had really been on my own, and I was like, this is cool. Like, I'm not a swimmer, I'm just like this social person who's like out here having this experience. And I think I started just learning how to be an individual maybe later in life. And then the pivotal moment for me was, going through a divorce. Like, I was 35. Most people are settled in, having children. And I just remember being such a social person my entire life, and then around my divorce, completely retreating. I mean, like, couldn't hear a lot of noise, couldn't be around a lot of people and a lot of drama. I felt like I was like going crazy at certain moments in my life. Like, I was like, after a long day at SkinOwl, and SkinOwl is also out of my home. So I was watching my husband at the time move out and SkinOwl move in. And then I had a girlfriend move in with me that I thought was a good idea to help with, like, you know, getting myself back on my feet. And I mean, thank God our friendship survived it, but that was an awful experience for the two of us, because I was just like, no, I'm not supposed to have a female roommate again. I'm supposed to have a husband. Like, what happened? And it was a time that, like I said before, like, I came out of it and just knew what my purpose was. And it was, you know, it's what happens in the dark that brings you into the light if you're lucky. And I feel very fortunate to have come out of that on top.
Do you think that, because everyone that I've come into contact with who's had a very massive, like, transformative, like, oh, this is my purpose moment, like, hit rock bottom, do you think that rock bottom is necessary to find your purpose?
I mean, it's definitely a motivator, because nobody likes to stay there for very long. I think like prior to my divorce, maybe I thought my purpose was helping people. also mixed in with like fixing people, and that is absolutely not my purpose. I think
I don't think that's anyone's purpose.
No, and that's such like I remember one of the things on my list when I was looking for a partner was like someone who's stable. And it's like the only type of person who's looking for stability in relationships are people who are unstable. So like that was not, it should be two whole people that come together and enhance one another as opposed to like, you complete me.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for someone to complete you, then when that person leaves or, passes away or God forbid, then there's a void. Like you want there to be loss, but you don't want there to be a void. And so, yeah, I think that hitting rock bottom changed my life. I think that it allowed me to ask a lot of other questions. Like I prided myself on picking this partner, and I thought that was the right thing. And if that wasn't the right thing, then what else isn't the right thing? Are these friends good for me? Is SkinOwl like what I should be doing? Is like, should I be living in LA? Like it's not just one note. It allows you to question the things that you've done with your entire life and start, I don't know, like nipping and tucking at the things that really just don't feel good. And it's a very easy, it either feels good or it doesn't in those times. It's a crazy thing, and so it makes it easy to wade through and recycle.
Do you have some advice for someone who might be like going through that really just like almost rock bottom moment, maybe with a career or a relationship, that like something that really helped you get through that you think could be a little universal?
Oh man, I think sometimes you think that you're never really going to get out of those places, or that it's too late for life to get any better, or you're never going to find love again. I'll just stay in the relationship that I've always been in because it's like, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And I think my advice to anybody who's like at a crossroads of, I don't know if I should stay in this job or I don't know if I should stay with this partner, is that it's never too late to change your life. And like it really isn't, and the anxiety of changing your life is always worse than the actuality. It's always worse. Like what you think it's going to take and the amount of bandwidth that you think it's going to take, and it's just one step. It's not a huge overnight massive change. It's what can I do tomorrow that can lead me into the right direction? Okay, so if I think my relationship's not good for me, maybe I can start testing the relationship to confirm, so that I don't go back and regret this decision and think that I left too early. So let me start testing my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Let me see if he wants to have the deep talk or she wants to have the deep talk. Is that person emotionally available for that? No. Okay, box checked. So it's like, maybe I can ask my boss for a raise, or maybe I can put myself first in ways, like maybe I'm just leaving this job, but I haven't exhausted all of my opportunities to change my life here. Could I work from home once a week? Could I ask for a little bit more vacation to take some time and really think about these things? Could I move into a different department? Can I ask for a raise? Yeah. Is there a way to scale back on this job or quit this job and work 2 part-time jobs that would give me less stress? Like, I think sometimes we're just so consumed with the fact that this is going to be hard that we don't exhaust all of the options to, maybe live with those things differently.
I could not nod my head more aggressively. I am so in that with you, and thank you. I know that hearing, it's almost like being granted the permission to follow your truth, and I think that's what a lot of people, especially in my community, really are looking for, is like the permission from themselves. So I really, really love that. I'd love to lighten the mood with another road trip game.
How about this for lightening the mood? I brought an orange, and I'm so emotionally charged that I have started peeling it.
I mean, I love the scent of citrus in the air. Like, I'm feeling like this is like the next scent that SkinOwl needs to make like a body bar in.
I only carry fruits that match my sweater, so get used to it. Sorry.
So every guest that I come on with, who comes on the show, we always play the classic game of Fuck, Marry, Kill. And I know it doesn't really feel like very self-love, but I think it's a lot of fun because we do it with inanimate objects, like no actual people here.
Yep.
Someone asked me if I would do it with people, and we did, and it just like didn't feel right. So, so I think that, you know, it might be a really great idea right now to do it with fruit. So, yep, we've got some fruit in the car already.
Do you care that I'm peeling this?
No, please.
Okay.
You know, we're here, and I'll just have to edit that out.
Mama needs her snacks.
So, fuck, marry, kill, oranges, apples, bananas.
Okay, I'm gonna marry oranges. That's like my thing. I'm so into oranges. I'm going to. Oh, I'm gonna fuck apples and I'm gonna kill bananas.
Oh, okay.
Not because of taste, but just like those are two. You put me up against two tough ones.
Yeah, no, it's true. I was kind of expecting you to say that you wanted to, you know, fuck a banana because it's phallic, so.
Please.
Please.
She don't need no banana.
Wow.
Get creative with an orange.
Wow. Oh, well, I think that might burn a little bit, but sure. You do you, boo.
See?
Yeah, we took it there. It's always, you know, we're on the road to self-love. It's bumpy sometimes, literally.
Some people
and
are getting off
figuratively.
the exit right now. They're like,
people
no.
are like, nope, unsubscribe. Bye, Paul. Thank you. Next. So I just have a couple more questions for you. I would love to know and ask all of my guests this. What
Is this
your
guy?
de-
Sorry.
Yeah, he was. He was
This
just.
guy was just walking into the car.
Yeah, he just loves it. What is your definition of self-love?
Ooh. Okay, my definition of self-love is giving yourself the permission and giving yourself the permission to wade through your own feelings about yourself and end up in a place of forgiveness if it's off for the day, and end in a place of championing yourself if it ends up in a good place. Like, I think to really love yourself or to love anybody, you know, we've all got to be open to, like, everybody's an 8 out of 10. I'm an 8 out of 10, you're an 8 out of 10, that guy's an 8 out of 10, and sometimes we're 9s and sometimes, you know, we're 6s, but you know, it's just about being okay with the fact that you're not perfect and just kind of loving yourself through the process of your journey. And if it's not like what you want it to be and you're not at the level or the weight or the financial blah, 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 like that you at least couple that with forgiveness.
Yes, and it's okay. Oh my goodness, just like such a dream of an answer. And I love this because every single person has a different answer. And I just want to remind everyone who's listening and watching that self-love is completely individualized because the definition of self is an individual and love is devotion. So you're just getting devoted to your individuality.
I love that.
So thank you for sharing your perspective. Tell everyone where they can find you. Tell everyone just like all the things.
Well, my address, no, I'm just kidding. Okay.
We're on our way.
So you can find me mostly at SkinOwl, @SkinOwl on Instagram. Info at SkinOwl if you guys have any feedback. If you have any questions, you want to switch your skincare routine up, you can email us at info@skinowl.com. If you want to listen to my podcast called Off the Record, it's at Off the Record with You on Instagram, and you can check it out on Apple, iTunes. And then the Parliament Project, if you're interested in coming, and you don't need to be in LA, because we are taking applicants everywhere, follow us at the Parliament Project LA, and then just go to skinowl.com for all of your skincare Parliament podcast needs.
Amazing.
And that's it.
I love it. I'm going to leave all the information in the description box if you're watching on YouTube, and the whatever box if you're the show notes. That's what it's called. And Annie has been so great. I'm so grateful of Annie because she is giving all Road to Self-Love peeps a discount code for skincare. And if you want to know what this glow is from, I'm using the Body Plus on my face, and
yes,
I'm all about it. I love when Annie, touches my face with her products, and just use the code Road to Love, one word, at checkout, and I believe you say 15%.
Yeah, 15%, and we always include extra goodies. So if
I
you're like,
mean-
I'm going to try what Paul's trying, I want the Rose Quartz Body Plus, you get 15% off that, and then we're going to throw in, like, we always throw in, like, 2 goodies and, you know, discount codes for the future, and then you're just part of the nest.
I'm really into the silver one because I love the aggressive highlight that it gives me. Like, and Annie was like, just wear it at night. Nope, I wear it during the day too. All about that light.
You're a rebellion.
Explore all of that. Thank you so much for being on the show. You guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, comment, share it. If you're on YouTube, iTunes, please subscribe. It is just so amazing to have you all on the road to self-love, and we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Have a beautiful rest of your day. So long, and Annie, thank you so much. Please,
Thank
please
you. You're a force. And
use the code.
yes, use the
Buy
code.
all of the things. It's
Help
worth it.
yourself.
Oh,
We love you guys.
bye.